Look, the Mets may walk away winners when it's all said and done, but I'm going to tell you right now the secret sauce is the third baseman, Mark Vientos. And why? Well, I'll tell you why in a second. Thank you so much for checking out Mets Digest. It means the world to me. I'm Flobo Boyce. I'm rocking with you for the next couple of minutes or so. But I just got to say this. We're rolling up the channel now. We're building great things here. And if you're watching this, you're one of the first. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe, hit that bell. Make sure you know when new content is dropping as we make this the best dang Mets page on the planet. You know, as I record this, it's July 10th, 2024, and the Mets are one game above 500. We took a win from the Washington Nationals, but it kind of feels we play them all the time. And even though I could talk about the praises of a lot of people on the team, I'm talking about Iglesias, talking about Taylor, talking about Nimmo, talking about Alonso, even JD Martinez, gotta give it up for the third baseman, my third baseman, Mark Vientos. And I got to say that with an extra bit of stank on it because 2 seasons ago, we didn't have a third baseman. We had Eduardo Escobar in 2022, and even though he wasn't really good at the offensive thing, we had all the faith in the world that he was going to pick it up. Didn't work out. And last season, it was a battle, even some of the season two, of who was going to be our third baseman. That was a big question. Was it going to be Brett Beatty? Was it going to be Mark Vientos? It went back and forth, and it was like guys got called up, guys got sent down. It really was a mess. When it was all said and done, we all thought Beatty was going to be the everyday, but then Beatty cooled off. And when that happened, Beatty got sent to Syracuse, and our friend Mark Vientos got sent up, and well, he made the most of a situation. I want to look at particularly those RBIs as it is right now. 29 RBIs. It's been really, really good at moving the train along. And that actually showed us a bit today when we were down by the 1 run against the Washington Nationals and they tied it up. The Nationals did. There was a lot of us that were willing to say, well, the game is over, because not so much we don't believe in our team, but we believe we saw a bunch of collapses in games as it is. But it really was Mark to right the ship and say, I'm going to be in this game mentally. The kids call it being locked in. And that was all she wrote of tying the score, making it 2-all. And then I kind of opened the floodgate for a lot of individuals to really contribute here as it is. And that to me means the world when you're coming and talking about having the spirit of the team. Look, we're past the grimace era, right? We are past the OMG era, but now we have somebody who was able to produce. Look at the home runs. 11 home runs. You may say, that's not impressive. I say, ha ha! How dare you, sayer of nay. 11 home runs is great once you put into consideration that Mark hasn't really been on the team every day for about 2 months. And that, to me, says there's going to be even more production happening down the line. And talking about production, take a look at the lineup for today's game. Carlos Mendoza, when he was elected to be the manager of the New York Mets, said he wanted to be able to craft that lineup, and the lineup has seen a lot of computations and a lot of iterations. And I'll talk about Mark Vientos batting fifth in a second, but I want you to show how this lineup is being crafted. Note, Jeff McNeil isn't on the lineup for whatever reason, and also Starling Marte is not in the lineup for injury. You look at when JD Martinez was brought up, he was supposed to be Alonso's protection, and that means batting after Alonso, so pitchers would have to pitch to Alonso, but we're seeing a little bit of a swap. JD's a bit more consistent, doesn't have the pop and power he used to have, but he's contributing more. Pete Alonso has that pop, but he's also been a bit inconsistent this season. But the real major thing teams are looking on is the positioning of Lindor and Nimmo. And bear with me when I say this, because Lindor hasn't really been a leadoff hitter when he moved over to Queens. Now he has, and his OPS and his on-base percentage has gone through the roof. And Nimmo, not having to deal with the pressure of being a leadoff hitter, being number 2, has also picked up his production. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 have found ways to hit on all cylinders when we win games, right? But look at the back half. Harrison Bader, our now everyday center fielder, bats knife typically, but he's kind of like a false six in disguise. He can really get himself and move the chains, also to turn over the lineup when need be. And Alvarez, currently in the midst of a down streak or down period on his own, has basically an open runway to ramp up his own production if given the chance. But I want to look at Vientos at number 5, right? When you're number 5 in the heart of the lineup, that tells you the front office, that tells you your manager, that tells you even the fans on some level are confident of what you can contribute to the team. I can't stress this enough. A year ago, we didn't even know who our third baseman was. Now, our third baseman is batting 5th, and even though he's not the first, second, or third offensive option, you really can't deny him too many times. You have to pitch to him because you know Alvarez is going to be someone with power and he can do it. He's not doing it right now. So you have to pitch to him, and Vientos is making pitchers pay. Now, a lot of people are talking about whether the Mets are buyers or sellers, and you can talk about that till the cows come home. But we're one game above 500, and due to the weakness of that National League, we're not even one, we're half a game back from that third elusive wild card. And so when you're a half game back, about a week from the trade deadline, you gotta make the move to tweak what need be. And there's a lot of things to tweak. Our starting pitchers are fine. They're serviceable, but we need one or two more, even with Senga coming back. Our bullpen, absolutely a mess. We have guys pitching out of position. We have guys who are starters being long relievers. We have closers who aren't closing. The bullpen has been our Achilles heel. So many games were basically won by the 7th inning, only for it to be lost. But you know one thing no one's talking about adding? You know one thing no one's talking about improving? That third base corner. And I'm not saying Vientos is perfect. He's 24 years old. He has a lot of room of improvement. He has a lot of things defensively he can work on. He could be a little bit faster around the base paths. But when you have 4 or 5 or 6 problems for a team, sometimes a president of baseball operations or a general manager will get flustered and try to blow it all up, break it all up. But if third base is locked down and we really need his pitching to be our number one concern, then that tells us that we have less holes to fill. And if our lineup as it is right now is rocking and rolling, because today, scoring 6 runs won't win every game, but it'll win enough games to put us out ahead to get that third wild card spot. And if I want to be bold, if I want to be optimistic, and between you and me, if there's one place to be optimistic, it's right here. The Braves have a very, very high chance of collapsing. Not saying it's going to happen, but with the injuries being piled up and basically the offensive pop resting firmly on Ozuna's shoulders, they have less and less offensive options who are consistent. There's a very good chance that they may get caught by us, or even more distance between them and the Phillies as well, or being caught out the wild card by another team like the Padres or so on and so forth. They didn't even be an issue. So if you have a team with multiple offensive options, the defense is pretty much tight, even with backup players like Torrens on the catcher's position for us, or even Iglesias in the infield as well. We are crafted a team that can do scrappy damage. If you don't know what scrappy damage is, it's not going to be flashy all the time, but those are the one that grinds out and wins games. We're talking about the 2022 Phillies. We're talking about the 2023 Arizona Diamondbacks. The Mets have the tools to do that as long as pitching gets themselves in that position. But the one thing that worrying about is the thing that was a big story a year ago, and that was the third base corner. That one's locked down by Mark Vientos. So, question for you watching this video. Thanks so much for making it to the end of it. What do you think about Mark Vientos being our everyday third baseman? Is there someone else you want there instead? You want to bring Beatty back up? Is there something we should really consider for the trade deadline? I would love to know what you think in the comments below. As for me, Flushing Faithful, I'm out of here. I'm checking out more games. You let me know how it's going. It's Mets Digest, baby.